Now friends, come to this particular part D. Again, a very, very important, beautiful concept. And this particular is a partnership firm. Understand hardcore basic things first of all. And computation of this profit and loss and all that is given to us. Now, if you see this income expenditure, we have got already a net profit of 1 lakh of rupees. So this is the place where you can start with. You have other income. So these I can, because it is just written other income, I can either assume it is other business income or other sources income, whatever. But I will just take it as IFOS income. Okay, so I will do that particular headless adjustment from that business income. So this will be one of the beginning point. Then I will scan through all the debit items. Okay, and one of the point which is a very beautiful concept which I have to explain is this dissolved and discontinued on 21st of January. So this is one of the very good conceptual point, but that I will discuss. Just give me some time, after some time. Okay, so first of all, let us start with our normal all the adjustments. Salaries include, so this particular salaries is already including paid to working partner A. So first of all, add 150. Total remuneration, total interest. But the good habit is first of all add everything and thereafter think about deduction. Okay, so administrative head, now he is doing administrative for making business policies. So administrative work, this is what, because see everywhere for section 40B, working partner, that way. So these are the indications given to you that even administrative work as a head of some department, he is a working partner. So he take this particular 150 addition. Okay, then 1 lakh to a working partner B. So first of all add 1 lakh. Looking after day-to-day routine matter and execution of the transaction. So even this day-to-day matter, the courts have explained that it is a work. Okay, so the work done by the partner does not mean there should be a professional work, some qualified work, some very fancy work, not like that. Anything, even the routine business work is a work. Okay, so it will be covered by this particular clause. Now, these 1 lakh rupees includes 20,000 paid partner B for extra work. So this is 80 plus 20. Okay, now the remuneration which is given for the extra work, this is also some of the high courts were required to answer. That supposing if you are giving remuneration for some overtime work, for example. Okay, so partners also have decided we are going to work supposing 6 hours a day, Saturday, Sunday, holiday. And say for example, you're working on Saturday because of some work pressure. So you take extra remuneration. Okay, so even if there is extra work, overtime work is also a work. This is what the court has explained. So, for the purpose of section 40B, the remuneration will be for even the overtime work, administrative work, day-to-day work. All this work is a work. Okay. So, I will add full 100. That means even overtime work is a part of section 40B analysis. That means it will be given to a deduction subject to 40B. See, when I say I'm going to add, it doesn't mean that it will be disallowed. In fact, you are a working partner, so it will be allowed, but it will be allowed subject to monetary limits of section 40B. Section 40B has a monetary limit. So those monetary limits will be focused on the, that means these points will go in section 40B calculation. Okay. So this is a total addition 150 plus 1 lakh. Okay. So add these two figures. Interest paid includes 54,000 being interest paid to loan given by partner C, the rate of 18%. Now, when it comes to the interest, keep that in mind. Interest on capital, interest on loan, interest on any other account, if paid by the firm to the partner, section 40B applies. So, does not mean that it is always the interest on capital. Some questions will also tell you interest on fixed capital, interest on current account. That also some questions can give you a breakup. But interest paid by the firm to the partner will come under the analysis of section 40B. That means limit of 40B, this is 18%. So, 12% limit of 40B will be applicable. So, first of all, I will add full 54,000 and thereafter within the limits of section 40B I will give the reduction. Now whether in this particular question given to you authorization by the partnership due to period of authorization, so whether given not given you have to assume it then it is authorized, because authorization through partnership deed is one of the theory condition of section 40B that should always be compliant. Okay, so add 54,000. Okay, however when I'm just going to do the adjustment, 36,000 will be eligible. Okay, so it will be divided by 18 multiplied by 12. So I'm just making a comment here for the sake of simplicity. Okay, so this point is done. Point number 3. Out of the provident fund contribution debited to profit and loss, 10,000 is outstanding beyond the due date of filing of return. So provident fund contribution, where is it given? Provident fund contribution, see this is 24,000. Okay, This is 10,000 rupees outstanding and not paid. So that will come under section 43B. So what is not paid beyond the due date of the filing of return of income, add 10,000. Okay. Then the firm purchased goods by issuing account pay check draft except in case of one bill for 80,000 for the payment was made in cash. So it was one bill, the payment was made in cash. So concept is basically aggregate payment per day. Now that exact data is again not given. That is aggregate payment per day. So even if it was paid in cash, but supposing it was 8,000 rupees paid in different times, different days, then there will be no disallowance. But in the given situation, I am assuming that this is aggregate payment for the in one day to one person. Okay, then this particular 80,000 will be added. So add 80,000 on that particular note. Okay, fair enough. Now, apart from that, this will be one IFOS adjustment, minus 8,000 and plus 8,000 under the head other sources. Okay, and all this computation with all these adjustments. Now we come to the main highlights of that particular question. Okay, the firm was dissolved and the business is discontinued. The firm was dissolved and the business is discontinued. Okay, on 21st of March, above income expense is thus prepared to date dissolution. So all these figures is up to 21st of January because firm is already dissolved and business is discontinued. Okay, so your entire this analysis is between 1/4 to 21/1. Okay, that is one point of understanding. Okay, now one of the debtor, Mr. Dhondu, who was written off 3 years back, okay, has made a payment of 12,600 on 20th March. 20th March is after 21st of January. That means this transaction of 12,600 is done after the dissolution of the firm. And that becomes a beauty of this particular question. Okay, the firm was already dissolved, so it made payment to one of the partner, Mr. A. One of the partner, Mr. A. Okay, working partner is a working partner. Hardly matters working partner, but he is one of the partner to whom the payment is made. Okay, so this is a transaction which is done after the dissolution. Okay, now other income, that means other source income, includes the accrued income of 2,000 which was received by Mr. B on 29th of March. But this is also a receipt transaction which is happening after 21st of January. That means after the firm is dissolved, some transactions are being undertaken. So what will be the fate of those transactions is something that we have to understand very, very importantly. So 2 transactions have been given to us. Okay. Now, first of all, let me explain the concept to you. Then both the transactions, we will decide what to do with these 2 transactions. Okay, and whatever the suitable address, if any required, we will do that. Okay, before that, come to this section 189. Section 189 is one of the beautiful theory condition or theory point where the firm is dissolved, or don't forget, or the business is discontinued. This or is very important. So the firm is dissolved or the business is discontinued. In this situation, how the tax treatment should be given, how the assessment should be done is given under section 189. And the heart of 189 is subclause 1. Okay, pay maximum attention, understand the conclusion. It is based on the case laws only. Where a business or a profession of a firm is discontinued or the firm is dissolved. Or is very important because there are 2 separate situations. However, in the given question, it is dissolved also and discontinued also. The firm was dissolved also and discontinued also. Here it is and. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter in the question at all. But these small little points should be noted very, very carefully. Okay, so either the business is discontinued or the firm is dissolved. Okay, the officer shall make the assessment of the total income. The officer shall make the assessment of the total income of the firm as if, now very, very important words, as if no such discontinuation or dissolution had taken place. As if no such discontinuation or dissolution was undertaken. As if. Okay. Now this has a very great practical implication. Understand very, very carefully. and what is the purpose and intent of this particular language. Okay, now see, when a firm is dissolved, listen very carefully. Supposing dissolution happened at a point in time. In our example, our question, it was 21st of January. Okay, when the firm was dissolved. Okay, now on the 21st January itself, there is no filing of return, or there is no assessment immediately, because the filing of return will take place after the year end. Okay, so you will file the return, although you discontinued the business, you are dissolved, everything has happened, but you will file the return afterwards. Okay, after you will file the return, then the officer will do the assessment. That will be another extra time. Okay, so the law says that the assessment will be done as if there is no dissolution or there is no discontinuation, and accordingly the provision will be carried over. That means in the course of the assessment, whatever is the duties of the partners to the government, the duties holds good until the assessment is completed. So for the course of the assessment, for the purpose of computation, you are responsible until the assessment is completed, as good as there is no dissolution, as good as there is no discontinuation, and you have to comply with all the government lawful procedures. Okay, so in this particular situation, whatever was correctly taxable in the hands of the firm will remain taxable in the hands of the firm, and the computation will be done as if there was no such dissolution or no such discontinuation. So what is taxable up to 21st of January in the hands of the firm will be taxable in the hands of the firm, as good as there is no dissolution when it comes to the course of the assessment. So if you see this particular situation, a transaction of accrued income of 2000 which was received on 29th of March. Okay, so these 2000 is already here, this included in this 8000. So this 2000 is anyway taxable up to 21st of January, because this is already accrued up to 21st of January. However, it has been received afterwards. So these 2000 rupees will be taxable in the hands of the firm only. Okay, reading with the spirit of section 189, that 2000 rupees will be taxable in the hands of the firm only, because it is accrued to the firm. Okay, so accordingly, firm will be taxable for this particular for the 2000, and anyway it is included in your PNL and of course IFOS, so no special adjustment will be carried out, but you will require a special note to explain that why 2000 you have not done any adjustments. So that note of 189 you will have to write. Now there is another section called as section 176. Okay, section 176 is for the discontinuation of the business. And section 176 basically says that where there is any business which is discontinued. Now section 176 is the general purpose section. It says that whenever there is any discontinuation of the business, and anybody who received the money after the discontinuation of business or profession, then the receiver will be taxable for that particular money in the year of receipt. So in this particular case, this was a bad debts. Listen very carefully. Mr. Dhondu was written off. That means this gentleman was a debtor of the firm and it was written off. So bad debts was written off, and 12,600 is the recovery of the bad debts. Okay. Now recovery of the bad debts is after 21st of January. That means the actual accrual of this particular money takes place only when the recovery happens. So it is not taxable up to 21st of January. The recovery of bad debts will be taxable in the year in which and the point at which there is a recovery, which is actually on 28th of March. And therefore, this money of recovery of the bad debts is not taxable. I repeat, this money 12,600 is not taxable in the hands of the firm. Listen very carefully. See here, normally that recovery of bad debts you should have credited. No. See why you have not credited this 12,600 here. Why? Because these your income expenses only 14221.1, and up to 21.1 there is no such income, there is no such recovery. That's the reason it is not shown in the profit and loss credit side. Okay, and therefore these monies are not accrued to the firm for the period for which the firm is existing. Firm is actually dissolved on 21st of January. Okay, so this money do not accrue to the firm. It is not taxable in the hands of the firm, but as per section 176, it will be taxable in the hands of the receiver, and the receiver is Mr. A, and Mr. A will be taxable for 12,600 rupees. And that is the interpretation of section 176. Read with section 189. Okay, so 189 is a focus section partnership firm. The monies which are taxable in the hands of the firm for the period is taxable in the hands of the firm. But for the period, if it is not taxable in the hands of the firm, then it is not taxable. So alternatively, now the law has 176 mechanism that after discontinuation, who received it? Mr. A received it. You will be taxable. So monies are taxable, but taxable in the hands of Mr. A in this particular circumstances. So for 12,600 also, you will not require any adjustment in the computation of the firm. However, why you are not doing that adjustment, you have to write these particular notes very properly in the answer book. Required to compute the total income of the firm and the partners. So you can already do that.